Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Harambe's Bauble podcast, a Magic the Gathering podcast. This is episode number 9, Power 9, episode Power 9. I'm DC. Joining me per usual is my good buddy Will. What's up, Will?
Going on, DC? Getting ready for some Halloween. Best time of the year, baby.
Hallows
Gotta
Eve.
love it.
Yeah. I have been slacking on my spooky movie watching this season, mostly because this is prime sports time. I usually watch sports whenever the kids go to bed. Um, and Mariah, my wife, she doesn't like scary movies because it gives her nightmares. So I don't know. I just haven't been doing it. I think I'm gonna try to like binge some here over the next couple nights before Halloween.
There you go. Just pull an all-nighter on Thursday night.
I could do that, maybe. Yeah. So on Halloween night, I do have a tradition. I always watch 28 Days Later, so I'm gonna keep that tradition going. It's my favorite horror movie of all
There you
time.
go. Can't say I'm crazy about horror. I'm more like suspense thriller guy, but
Yeah.
just I don't know. Something about this time of the year, the weather, the leaves, all of it.
So
Just good.
I'm gonna give a quick shout out. There's this TikToker. Her name is Magic Mama. She followed our TikTok account, and she's doing she's calling Pack-O-Ween, where she's opening a pack every day in the month of October. Um, and I think it's pretty clever. I wonder if she's saving Duskborn for Halloween, or maybe some Crimson Vow or something like that, some Innistrad.
There you go. I like
Yeah.
that though. Kind of like an advent calendar, but Halloween theme,
Well,
cross magic.
she inspired me. I think I'm gonna do like the 12 days of magic for Christmas and open a pack every day, crack one, a different set every day.
There you go. No,
Yeah.
just 12 days of Aether Drift.
Oh God.
Do what you want.
You're right. I won't talk about one of the worst sets ever printed. Good Lord. Um, well, speaking of sets being printed, there's a pretty good set. It looks like that's being printed, and that's the Avatar: The Last Airbender set. We've got more and more spoilers coming for that. The set officially comes out when? Because I want to say it's already on Arena. Let's see here.
November 21st is the global tabletop release.
Okay,
Pre-release a week before, 14th.
gotcha. So we're coming up on pre-release. Like I
Yeah.
said, we have I think I saw it's coming to Arena. At least it may be on there, it may not be, but I know it's coming soon on there. Arena made some in-game changes too to Vivi, which is interesting. Not really something you can do outside of Arena, obviously. So I wonder if they're going to change it, nerf it in Arena, and then actually ban it in standard paper. That seems like a weird thing to do, though.
So, as someone that doesn't play Arena, like, what do they do?
So they now made it a tap ability to add the mana during your turn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come on, Wizards. That's some weak.
But I want to talk about Avatar. So we are picking a couple of cards that that we think look pretty cool for Avatar. I actually have two I want to mention, but I'll let you go first and see if I don't know if you have one or two, but you go first. What is out of these new spoilers we've got? What looks cool to you?
Yeah, I just went with one that I just saw today for the first time. Now that I'm, doing this whole Vivi thing, I'm slowly starting to appreciate blue more. I'm not going to say blue is better than green. I would never say blue is better than green, but I'm starting to appreciate blue more. And so the one that I shared in the Discord, Wan Shi Tong, Librarian, it is an X blue blue for a legendary creature, bird spirit, 1/1 with flash, flying vigilance. When Wan Shi Tong enters, put X +1/+1 counters on him, then draw half X cards rounded down. And whenever an opponent searches their library, put a +1/+1 counter on Wan Shitong and draw a card, which I think is just really cool. Like, I mean, as far as like it being its own draw engine and getting stronger, I just think that idea is really cool. And we were talking a few episodes ago about how, landfall metas right now
Mm.
are pretty challenging to go against. And this is a perfect response to that of, okay, you want to go search your library for land? I'm going to draw a card. This is going to get stronger. It's got flying. I'll just fly right over you with my big bird spirit and boom. So yeah, I think this is going to be a really cool card. Already, I was checking on TCG Player because they have this really awesome alternate extended art that looks like it's like straight out of an encyclopedia, and it's already pre-saled for $100 right now, which is insane. Definitely gonna wait for that to crash a little bit
Whew.
more, but
That's
it's gonna
and
be a good card.
that's nutty. Is it just because of the extended art that it's that much? I mean, we
I think so. Yeah, the base was $30, which
it's
it
still
seems about right,
nah. It's
but
gonna
it'll
come
probably
down.
drop.
That's gonna come down. That's that's the thing. I mean, we saw what pre-sale was for Spider-Man, and yeah, this won't crash as hard as Spider-Man, but don't pre-buy cards, fellas and gals. Don't do it. Just wait.
Yeah,
Wait till they come out, and then the prices will get are in a reasonable area. So please buy singles and don't pre-order them. Buy them after they release, please. Yeah, that is a cool card though. There's a lot going on, a lot of interaction with it. Um, yeah, I think is that going to be a VV special for you?
oh yeah, yeah. I
Hmm.
mean, once that price drops a little bit. But the nice thing, I guess, about with how many sets they're pumping out now, I only have to wait maybe 2 months, and this thing's going to come down to a reasonable level. So, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm definitely throwing this in VV when I can.
Well, we'll talk about Power Creep here in a minute. So there's two that I want to mention. I saw both these today as well. The alternate art for this one is so cool, so pretty. This set's just getting some good treatments. It seems like they really did a good job with the Avatar set. This card's called White Lotus Tile. It is 4 colorless mana. It's an artifact. It enters the battlefield tapped. Although they've removed that key distinction battlefield, it just says it enters tapped. I kind of hate that, but I digress. Tap it, add X mana of any one color, where X is the greatest number of creatures you control that have a creature type in common. So for Commander, this is going to be great for Tribal. I will 1,000,000,000% put this in Spiders and in Angels. 4 mana is really, we've mentioned this before, 4 mana is nothing in Commander. Get this out turn 2, easy peasy. Um, yeah, I think this will go burr in Tribal decks.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the cost is the same as what you'd pay for Thran Dynamo, which gets you 3 colorless. And if you play this right, you're going to be getting, 5, 6, 7 of
If you're
any
producing
color.
tokens too, wow.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then this one, and this is where our main discussion is going to come in, the power creep. Just wow. So it is sorcery speed. Not that it really matters that much because most board wipes are sorcery speed. Day of Black Sun. Sorcery. Each creature with mana value. Sorry, it's X into black. Each creature with mana value X or less loses all abilities until end of turn. Okay, well, that's already cool because you get around Shroud, Hexproof, um,
Indestructible.
Indestructible, all the things.
Yeah,
So that's a I mean, I don't think we've seen many cards that do this like on a broad scale like that, especially because you're not targeting anything. That's what's crazy about this. But then the neat little sentence after that: destroy those creatures.
yeah,
So yeah, black board wipe. This is gonna go in every black deck, every deck that runs black. There's no reason not to. This is gonna be an auto include. Like I said, it gets around all those neat, protection things that people stack on their creatures. And yeah, power
Yeah,
creep,
I mean,
man.
even if you're not running mono black and you're just a multicolor deck with black, I
Yeah.
mean, this is probably one of the best board wipes printed so far.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, you have to pay the mana to be able to fully board wipe, but let's just say for argument's sake, it's you've got an 8 mana creature on the field that which typically doesn't happen too often. It's usually like in creatures are usually in the 4 to 6 range in Commander, if we're being honest. At least the big bad ones are. 8 mana, so 10 mana total. That's you could do that. Like that's not hard to cast, especially at that point in the game when you're
yeah.
trying to reset it.
And any opponents that have, creatures with abilities that, death triggers and stuff like that, like you're negating
Yeah,
all of that from happening.
it's a good point.
So I think, yeah, just because, I mean, with black already doesn't have a whole lot of just great true board wipes. So I think this is like much needed in a lot of ways. But
Yeah,
even comparing with something like a Toxic Deluge, which, yeah, you could like pay life and get rid of a lot of creatures. This will get rid of, like I said, any of those abilities that care about creatures dying or anything like that. So I think it'll definitely have its moments where it's going to be just insane. Yeah.
yeah.
This,
I think those are two very important cards for Commander. I want to talk a little bit. You know, we've talked about power creep here and there on the pods, especially the last two, because stuff just keeps coming at us at insane velocities. Cards like this, you know, they're printing this specifically for Commander, I think, because I don't think that's really going to see a too much standard play or modern or anything like that. This is definitely in mind for Commander, and same with the White Lotus, whatever that I just previewed as well. Um, those cards are definitely printed with Commander in mind. We have seen a big shift with WotC over the last few years where they're really focusing on printing cards for Commander and not necessarily focusing directly on Standard like they have in the past. And because of that, Commander has kind of gotten out of hand. It's gotten so fast, breakneck speed fast, where if you get past turn 6, you're probably shocked. I'm talking even like casual, like brackets 1 and 2, stuff like that. Usually someone's got a board state to where it's like it's hard to deal with by turn 6. Um, I don't know how they combat that because they're not going to ban, you know, enough cards for it to matter. You don't have cycles like you do in standard, you know. Commander, the board or the sets stay. They don't go anywhere. They don't rotate out. So I don't know how they fix this, but the power creep is just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. What cards used to be good are now terrible.
yeah, I think that's the worst part of it all is just thinking of at this point how many thousands of cards exist that even in a bracket one deck, there's just better options. And I mean, I guess that's part of, when you have a game that's been going on for whatever 32 years or however long it's been going on, but at the same time it's like, yeah, and we talked about it a little bit last episode or maybe the episode before where it's almost like now you can't really afford to take much time off and then come back into it thinking that your deck is still going to be as refined as it was before because more efficient options just keep coming out. And as two people who love the game and love just the technical aspect of card design. I mean, you and I appreciate a lot of the new cards that are coming out and we like a lot of the new cards, but that's also part of what makes it so exhausting sometimes is trying to keep up with every set and like, okay, what are the cards that are, coming out that could replace some of the options that I'm currently running because they're just more efficient or they do more things just in general compared to currently existing options. So
Especially because
it's a lot.
inevitably like your pod's going to just get better because your players in your pod love the game. They love buying cards and packs and stuff like that, and they're going to keep improving their decks, so you got to keep up with them or you're going to get left behind.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe that's a good point too. Is we kind of are more fortunate maybe than other folks that, when we're playing Magic, we're usually not just going to our LGS and playing with a bunch of randos who are probably like very tapped in. We pay attention, and we have like our Discord where we share ideas and stuff, but like we also just have other interests outside of that, and so we only can keep up to so much. And so it probably will just come down to a lot of like, who are you playing with and how serious are they taking it? And if you're in a pod that is really just trying to stay tapped in and staying as updated as possible, but that's, not what you want to do, maybe it's something where you have to find that right group of, who's going to be okay with, like Sam, for example, has that one deck that doesn't have any cards that are later on from like the 10th
Yeah, yeah.
edition or whatever, and the Phage deck, and still pretty competitive with a lot of our decks. I mean, there are certain moments where you can tell like there's not those efficient pieces, utility pieces that we might have, but if you give it enough time, it still delivers. And so being in a casual enough pod where we're not just kind of like ruthlessly trying to weed out the weak decks or anything like that, or I don't know. Probably a lot of it's going to come down to your pod and how serious are you people taking it, or your friends taking it. And if you're in a group that's just like, yeah, we'll just do whatever and have fun doing it and paying attention to the bracket levels, maybe that's how that gets navigated, at least to some extent.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Sam's deck that's with Phage, that's interesting you say you talk about that. Yeah, I mean, that's proof that old cards are still really good. There's still a ton of old cards that are busted and amazing. But I just think in general, you have so many cards that were commander staples that are just getting pushed out uh, by cards like what I just talked about. I mean, that's better than
Yeah.
most board wipe options for black. Um, with the Lotus, the White Lotus thing, you know, you need ramp in typically in any deck, but especially in tribal because you're running a bunch of creatures and you want to be able to cast those creatures, and that's an auto include. So you're gonna want it because you're gonna want to play your stuff faster, at least more of them. So yeah, I think it definitely is pod dependent. But I think power creep affects us all, whether you're in a good casual pod or not. Again, just because like, what if player one player in your pod just picks up some of those cards? Well, I mean, you don't want to get left behind. You don't want to get smashed by that player every time you're playing. Um, yeah, I think we're tapped in just enough to where we spice up our decks here and there with the new set releases, or we bring in a new couple of decks like I did with Spider-Man, but neither of them are just like, I'm not buying, game changers and crazy cards to fill those out. I'm keeping them casual, and maybe that's the key, is just try to keep your pod as casual as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And I agree. I think, especially having something like the Discord, it's really helpful where with all the content that we're being thrown, we can kind of filter out a lot of the stuff that maybe is just as good as stuff that existed before or worse. And we're really just kind of honing in on, here are a couple of the ones from each set that are just really crazy and maybe worth investing in. And if you got the extra money and it's not overpriced by, random scalper or pre-sale, then great, get it. And
Yeah.
otherwise, throw a little proxy in there and
Here's a different perspective
yeah.
too. So I remember just when you first started playing, we would have games that lasted 4 or 5 hours by themselves, 4 player games. Um, Maybe speeding up the game because of the power creep is not such a bad thing because now we can get in 3 or 4 games within 2 or 3 hours, and so maybe that's one way to look at it. But as we've talked about before, and as you mentioned, even in this podcast, it is sad to see so many beloved cards just get pushed to the wayside and never see the light of day. And maybe it's something you rule zero, where like you only play up until a certain set, like kind of like you play um vintage commander or like pioneer commander, but like reverse pioneer, like you start at like Kaladesh and go backwards or something like that. I don't know. Just things to consider. There's always rule zeros for pods. If it's not fun for you, then try to make it fun. Do whatever you can to make it fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I could opine about the Crete because I mean, I remember days whenever, like I've talked about before, where yeah, you had busted cards printed, but it feels like there's 30 busted cards a set now. And that's hard to keep up with, hard to deal with whenever you're trying to make your decks fun and keep up. And so I get the complaint with the players about how everything is just really going warp speed. And part of that too is just there's too many sets. They need to calm down with the amount of sets. There's just too many sets a year.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still finding stuff in Edge of Eternities that I hadn't seen before. So
Yeah, talk about a set that's going to be long forgotten and probably shouldn't be because it's such a unique set. It's
it really was.
there's so many
Yeah.
good
A
things
lot of
about that
just,
set.
yeah, 100% agree. And it just didn't even really get a lot of time in the spotlight because of it being just kind of unfortunately between Final Fantasy and Spider-Man. Everyone was just so hyped up about Final Fantasy and then immediately was hyped up about Spider-Man. And it was like, yeah, what is this space stuff? Cool. Yeah, whatever. We're moving on. But I mean, looking back at it, like there's a lot of just cool. The ability is just a really cool, unique mechanic, and there's a lot of great cards that they printed.
And
That
warp, I love the warp
yeah,
mechanic a lot.
warp, yeah, warp is great. I mean, insects have been eating good in Edge of
Yeah,
Eternities.
true.
Insect Tribal, there's some great cards.
Hey,
So
Tanuk
yeah,
Steadfast Second made his debut against you with Gwen and came in the clutch.
he did. That's a
Yeah,
great card, man.
yeah.
Such a good card, especially in that deck.
Yep. So many red spells. Still planning on doing the deck tech for Gwen. Actually, I'm gonna have some time tomorrow to record it. What I'm gonna do is just use Moxfield. So when you hear this, it should already be out or close to being out. So, but yeah, I'm stoked to do that because I think that deck is so fun for what it is. And as far as like talking to your pod, rule zeroing or whatever, Sunday we did a little bit of casual, just deck testing with each other, playing each other 1v1, and you asked the question, and I think you need to ask this question as a player to your pod, especially if you have a feeling they're not having fun. You ask the question, is this unfun to play against? Is this annoying to play against? Stuff like that. I think that's stuff that you need to consider with your pod. Um, maybe pod etiquette is something we need to consider for a podcast topic in another episode, but I just thought that was a really good idea for you to ask that question. And yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I'm not playing Magic just at my local game shop with people I don't know. Like when I'm playing Magic, it's with my friends. And so I always try to make decks that I enjoy playing because I don't want to be miserable playing it, but I also
Yeah.
want to make sure that I don't leave having my friends be like, well, I don't ever want to play Magic with him again, or just like feeling that like
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we've all played against those decks at some point where it's just kind of been like, oh, okay, I need a moment to kind of like recollect myself.
Zer.
Um, yeah, or just like a piece of your soul gets snatched away. So no, I just wanted to, especially yeah. I mean, a deck like Vivi where I'm just constantly pinging people for damage. It's just one of those things where I could see how that could be irritating at times to deal with. So
Nah,
I
I
agree. I mean, I
got,
think it's important to
yeah.
yeah, if it's your friends and you don't want them to, don't want to treat your friends,
Yeah, for sure.
check in.
Yeah. I mean, I play Magic because I like winning, to be honest. Like, and just mechanically, I think it's the best game ever. But I do like winning. I'm a competitive guy, but I'm not going to do it at the cost of friendship. Like, I'm going to build competitive decks, but not to the point where it makes everyone miserable.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get that. I'm competitive too and want to win, but like you said, like I don't want to win at the expense of ruining the day for everyone else or,
Well, so
ruining the
I
time.
I
I don't,
tested Gwynnm out finally. It worked out better than I thought. I thought she wasn't ready, but I think she's ready with the way just the cards that
Speaking
I
of
have in
ruined
her.
days, yeah. Speaking of ruined day, no, that was.
Yeah, that
It's a
card,
crazy deck, man.
that
Crazy
could get
card.
out of hand pretty quick. Um,
Yeah,
just being able to pay life, it's an attack trigger. As soon as you attack with her, you get to, even if she dies, it doesn't matter because you still get to pay life to play cards for the top of your deck. And yeah, pretty cool to tutor stuff from the top of your deck with like Liliana Vess or Diabolic Tutor and just going and getting what you want, put it on top of your deck and go play it. Like whatever card you need, just pay the life. It's
right.
a it's a great
And
it's a
like
great
her
card.
her having death touch and lifelink, it's like you don't really want to defend it unless you can kill her.
Right.
But either way, you're gaining life, which you're then going to use to cast some other crazy that's going to just make me go bananas.
as Sam
So
as Sam says many times, life is a resource.
yeah, yeah, and that deck proves it for sure.
Yeah.
No, it was cool to see though. I mean, it's because it's what is it? Bolus Citadel? Is that the enchantment that has that ability of paying
Yeah,
cards? Yeah,
I believe
Bolus
so.
Citadel. So
Yeah.
like that on a body with lifelink is just a cool idea. And for 4 mana, like great deal.
Yeah, she's a great card. Gwendom's a great card. That I can make that deck super mean. It already is kind of mean. But I doubt I ever will because it's well, I might one day just to see how it plays. I want to get those
Yeah.
infinite combos in it, see how far I could push her. But it's just fun right now, and I'm excited to debut her the next time we play. If we do that, I don't know. We still got to do the Commander Brawl Cube, so I don't know what people want to do. I was the only one who actually voted, so I don't know what our pod wants to
I don't
do.
yeah. I mean I don't have a preference. I would be down to try it, but
Yeah,
yeah. See what the other guys have to say.
yeah. Well, speaking of, we talked about adding cards to your deck to contend with the power creep and your pod and all that. We both really liked last week's segment where we talked about cards we added that you know they played better than we thought they were going to play, and I think we should talk about that again because I think this is good advice for everyone. Where it's like you kind of see a card, then you're like, yeah, that might be good, that might not be good, and we can help you by real life scenarios where we're like, hey, yeah, this actually worked out really well, and here's why. So I think this is a good segment that might be recurring more than a few times. Um, why don't you start us off? What card did you play recently or play with recently that worked out better than you thought it was going to?
So I decided to go with another card from the VV deck that I just added recently, and it is the Belligerent. So it's 2 generic, a blue and a red, for a legendary artifact vehicle. Whenever the Belligerent attacks, create a treasure token. Until end of turn, you may look at the top card of your library anytime, and you may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. Crew 3 for a 5/5. Now, I will totally right off the bat admit that a crew 3 for a 5/5 is really not that great of a deal. And paying 4 mana for a 5/5 with no keywords is also not that great of a deal. But we don't care how this does in combat. We just want that attack trigger, and it is just insane. If you're playing a deck that cares about casting a lot of spells, and especially a lot of low mana costing spells, this thing can go off. And
Yeah,
I've only gotten a couple of games in with it so far, but it's just completely spiraled them out of control when it's allowed to go off. So, I mean, one, creating a treasure token is nice. It's like, hey, here's one free mana that you can now use to cast these spells. And, it's similar to Gwenum, where if it dies, you still get that ability. So, worst case scenario, depending on what the game state might look like, 4 mana for the gamble at being able to cast a handful of spells might be worth it. If you can get this thing to go off 2 times, especially 3 times, 4 mana is an insane deal to be able to do this. And the first game that I got to play with it, I got to cast 6 spells off the top of my library
Woo.
and then play a land. And the second turn that it was up, I think I maybe cast like 3, and then I think it was 3 again the next turn, and then ended up being just at a point where he had to scoop because it was just kind of getting out of control at that point. But I mean, just the card advantage alone, if you think about like the default drawing 1 card per turn, if you're able to cast, 5, 6 cards off the top of your library, you're just getting 5, 6 turns ahead of like where you would have been. And it's
Yeah.
really easy for things to just spiral at that point.
Yeah, anything that's relatively cheap where you can cast cards from the top of your library is so valuable in Commander, as we've seen from Gwynnm and the Steadfast. So, or what's it called? The what? Not the Steadfast. What's it called?
The belligerent,
The Belligerent. That's right. The Belligerent and Gwynnm. Anything that allows you to play off the top of your deck with any kind of resource, so worth it. The more cards you see out of your deck, the better chance you have to win. So,
for sure.
great card.
Yep.
I'm also going with a. Well, I know it's blue and red, right? But I'm also going with a blue card. But this is double blue, and I got to play this for the first time. I kept a bad hand, and it worked out just because I really wanted to play this card. It was actually against you, and I wasn't sure how this was going to perform because there's not really like a ton of like planeswalker stuff to do with this deck. Like, yeah, you have Quantorius canned, and I just really love Jace, so I had to try to figure out a way to fit in a Jace in a deck where I'm playing blue. And Jace Reawakened is what I went with here. Legendary Planeswalker Jace. You can't cast this spell during your first, second, or third turns in the game. So same ability as Spider-Man 2099, which I also play in Ghosty and Spider Gwen. +1, draw a card, then discard a card. Okay, well that I enjoy that because it nets you a card, and one that you're wanting to see. Maybe you have like too many lands in your hand, or something, you can discard that and draw a card every day. Good enough. +1. You may exile a non-land card with mana value 3 or less from your hand. If you do, it becomes plotted. Now this is where this card is nutty. I have a lot of spells that are 3 or less in Gwyn, and being able to get a free trigger on my next turn for Ghost Spider or whatever else from casting spells from exile, in addition to the stuff I'm already doing, the stuff I have, foretold or other cards that I'm going to play from exile, man, that it helps really a lot. For 2 mana, this card helps you so much in that deck. I just kept, plotting stuff and free triggers just for adding counters to Jace. And then his -6, which I didn't get to do, but really it was that middle ability that I was playing him for. Until end of turn, whenever you cast a spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. I did use this though. I did use the -6. I don't even remember what I used it for, but I copied a spell, got another trigger. Beautiful, beautiful card. I love this card a lot. Oh, his loyalty starts out at 3. I failed to mention that. So yeah, only good things with
Definitely
this.
pairs really well with the Wild Mage Sorcerer that you
Yeah,
talked about last pod too. I mean, I think you actually had that combo against me
I did.
on
Yeah, I
Sunday,
did.
and
Yeah,
yeah, the fact that it's a plus ability to do that exile, that's so cool.
yeah, yeah.
Two
You
mana?
would think something like that, like being able to plot something like that, would cost something, but no, you add to it. So I was just doing that until
Yeah,
I got to like 7. I was like, all right, I guess I'll just copy a spell real quick and
yeah,
yeah, and keep him on the battlefield. Great card. I love Jace. I'm a blue mage at heart. Um, yeah, thought that was a really cool card.
yeah. Very cool, for sure. Yeah, man. I'm excited to see this deck tech on Spider Gwen because I think it's just a really unique deck, and
It is.
it's gonna, yeah, very unique.
Well, and someone mentioned, and I think you are going to do a VV deck tech. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, I'll do a VV deck tech.
Because someone in someone on the TikTok said they wanted to see this Vivi deck you got going because it's so against the grain on what people normally do with Vivi, and I think that there's some intrigue there. I'm excited to see that deck too.
Yeah, we'll see what people think. It's gonna, I don't know. It's definitely not your typical. So if you're playing like your typical storm route, you're probably gonna look at me and go, "Why are you doing this? This makes no
Yeah,
sense." But I have fun, so let me have my fun.
yeah, and as someone who's played against this deck countless times, it creeps up on you, man. Like you have these explosive turns where you're just casting on ones and zeros, uh, like artifacts and giving VV Shroud and unblockable and all those counters and stuff. That adds up quick, and you take people out with commander damage uh, if you want to, or just get Torbrand out and deal 3 damage every time you play a colorless or or a instant or sorcery or whatever. Man, too good. Like it's so fun.
Yeah. We got some good decks going. We got some good decks brewing, and it's we got to find. I know I got to get my Norman Osborn deck off the ground, but we got to start thinking about what our next set that we're going to build commandees in is going to be.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
some Lorwyn. I feel like Lorwyn could have some crazy
the
cards.
next so I still want to try to look at building the lobster deck with our
Yeah.
boy. Um but I think that'll be the next one I tinker with, but I'm having a lot of fun with these 3 that I just built, and a lot of my older decks are just kind of going to the wayside. I played a little with Omnith, and he's just not ready. Talk about power creep. That thing got power creep to oblivion. That deck is just not good enough right now. So I might tinker with that a little more. I think the next deck I'm going to build, I'm definitely going to build the Turtles deck. That's going to be something I build.
Are you?
Oh yeah,
Nice. Okay.
100%. I'm gonna buy the precon and make
That'll
that
be
deck
cool.
good. I love the turtles, man. I was a huge Ninja Turtles fan growing up, and I still like. There was a show whenever I was like in my 20s, that was on Nickelodeon, and it was a turtle show. I can't remember the what year it came out, but it was in the 2000s, and that show was really good. It was just a good show. My son actually watches it with me here and there. I watch it with him. Um, Yeah, I love the turtles, man. So I'm excited for that.
And you did you used to have a ninja deck? Was it ninja
Nah,
that you had, or was it
it's just all samurai that I had with Ishin.
what
Um,
was the Outlaws, the OTJ?
oh yeah. Yeah. So that was a Olivia. That was a precon. I tried it once. The deck's not good, so I deconstructed it. There's a lot of good stuff in there that I actually ended up putting in Gwen or otherwise. Um, there's good individual pieces, but the deck itself was just too niche. It wasn't good enough to play. So, and I wasn't going to spend a lot of money to make it better. So, yeah,
Oh, assassins. Okay,
yeah,
not
assassins.
ninjas. I'm just
I did buy a fair bit of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty when it came out, so I've got in my bulk quite a few ninjutsu and ninjas. So, um, I can make that deck pretty good. I'm excited for that deck. That's gonna be fun. But other than that, yeah, I might I might make the lobster deck, make Omnith better, but that's I got plenty to tinker with before February. So, how about you? You looking to build anything else other than
that's
Norman,
fair.
or is that the only one on the horizon for you right now?
I'm thinking about it. I don't know. I've been lately on the fence about building Norman. I know that I need to, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I just don't know that it's going to be different enough from the other decks that I currently have where because I usually just try to have it be different, and like every time that I'm thinking about how I'm going to build this deck, it just seems to be like, let's do combat and we'll build out this. And I mean, maybe I'll have some goblin synergy and get, a little shisty with Krenko, but it still just feels like a lot of overlap with how some of my other decks play. So
Remind me,
I don't
Norman
know.
is
We'll see.
Grixis colors, right?
Yeah, Grixis. Yeah, his Norman side is 1/1 can't be blocked. When he deals damage to a player, he connives. So you draw a card, discard a card,
Yep.
If it's a non-land card that you discard, put a +1/+1 on them. So I mean, like the easy synergy of get Norman really huge and kill people with commander damage. I just feel like that's a game that I've already played before. So I don't know. We'll see. I think Lorwyn will be a really cool set, and I'm really excited to see some of the options that come out of there. So, I've got, I feel like a decent enough collection where I could throw together, depending on the color scheme, just like a rough first draft.
Yeah.
So, might see something stands out there.
You could make it real control heavy. I mean, and then just take people out 1v1.
I could, but then I would hate myself probably more than the people playing me would hate me. So,
Grixis is supposed to be mean, man. It's a mean color combination.
I know.
Yeah.
I just don't have fun playing that way, though. I always end up feeling bad, and then I feel guilty, and then it's like, I'll just go back to playing a deck where I just focus on me.
Speaking of which, you haven't played Chatterfang in a while. You need to get some Chatterfang action going again.
I know. I need to. I think, Chatterfang was just one of those things where I feel like once people saw like a lot of the tricks that I had, it was just like, okay, anytime Chatterfang is out, get rid of this thing.
Yeah.
And without Chatterfang, the whole deck just kind of sputters out.
Yeah.
So I got to get some more reps in, figure out what I need to do to kind of maybe keep him safe or build in alternate win cons. But I think that was why I stopped, because it was like, all right, well, I can't even make a squirrel token and it's turn 10. So maybe I'll just play a different deck.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. I'll definitely probably have some decks on the horizon with the Marvel set because I'm a Marvel fanboy, if you couldn't tell. So I'm gonna try to keep it light with my deck building, even though deck building is my favorite thing about Magic. So it's hard not to want to build all the decks, but I only have so much time and money. So
Yeah. Well, and you got to save at least one for when the Hobbit comes back, because
yeah,
that's gonna be huge. I don't know what I'm building, but it's gonna be something.
yeah, I probably do the same, or I might just make Food and Friends better, something like that. So speaking of decks I haven't played in a long time, Food and Friends, I need to bring that out again. That's a fun
Yeah.
deck. How
Well,
does it
especially
win?
with that
I just eat food. That's how.
card. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with that card that Dan shared today, I mean, that's an
The
insane land fetch
cabbage.
engine.
Yeah, it is. We had some debate on how it actually works in the Discord today, but I think we settled on because I was on your side at the beginning, and then I read it and I was like, "There's a period there. That's two separate abilities that interact with one another." Um, I don't know. I'll read it real quick and let us know in the comments below how you think it should work. Reddit tends to agree with Dan and I, and now I think you've finally kind of seen how it's going to work as well. What was the name of it again? It's cabbage. What?
Unlucky Cabbage Merchant.
Okay, hold on. It's not. It wasn't on the Skyfall spoilers yet. All right, so
Yeah.
Unlucky Cabbage Merchant. It is one colorless and a green. It's a human citizen. It's an uncommon, which power creep. Here we go. When this creature enters, create a food token. Okay, cool. 2/2. Yeah, great ability for 2, right? Whenever you sacrifice a food, you may search your library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield tapped. Period. Important period. If you search your library this way, put this creature on the bottom of its owner's library, then shuffle. So, in theory, you could sack like 10 foods and go get 10 lands and maybe 10 landfall triggers if you're doing that combination of landfall and foods, which seems like a deck that is going to be made. And then when those are on the stack, they go all off before you get to the next part of the paragraph, which is a separation with the period. If you search the library this way, put this creature on the bottom of its owner's library, then shuffle. So you do get all those land fetches, and then you shuffle it into your library. So pretty busted, especially for an uncommon. Like, wow.
Yeah.
I
I mean, even just
theorized.
like,
Go ahead.
I mean, even just thinking of some cards that I have in Chatterfang, like it would be very easy to make this go infinite
Yeah.
an infinite loop of being like you get Igra, Eater of All out there, something like Pitiless Plunderer and like Ashnod's Altar, and you just sack your creatures that are foods. They die. You make another. Or I guess you would need a creature generator, but anyway, there's similar kinds of cards where
Yeah.
you'd be able to, I guess, have a Chatterfang out there, and you could
Mm-hmm.
have a squirrel get made, and then you just do the loop all over again. So, I mean, I think there, yeah, I understand what you guys are saying about with that period being there, how it would make more sense if that's how it works, that you can do this multiple times. But if that's the case, I mean, yeah, that's insanely busted. In any food deck, or even like a core vault deck where you're just making a bunch of tokens to be able to sack them, like this can get really crazy in the right deck.
Yeah, in
Like
my
2 mana?
mind, especially it being an uncommon, they intended for it to work the way we originally thought it was going to work, where you get one land, you can only do it once, you get one land, and then you shuffle it into your library. That would make sense for an uncommon. This would be mythic level if it works the way we're talking about, if with WotC R&D was working properly. To me, this is a clerical oversight. Like I don't think they intended for this card to work the way that it actually does work. I think they messed up. I truly believe that.
I mean, the one hope I guess that I have is that if this is uncommon, then hopefully it'll be printed enough that it won't be very expensive because, yeah, this is going to be great in any food token synergy.
Food and Friends, hello. And it, like I said, it makes
Yeah.
me want to make that like a hybrid landfall deck as well, because think about all the crazy triggers you could have on a turn. God.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you
Yeah.
get a Scute Swarm out there and you just sack
Brr,
10
brr,
foods or
brr.
whatever. Yeah. Go crazy.
Yeah. Well, there's plenty of Avatar spoilers out there if you guys want to go look at it. We just had some internal debate about this card, so it was worth mentioning for sure. Like I said, let us know in the comments below how you think it should work or how you think it does work. But I think the players have settled on the latter, what we just talked about, how it works. Um, yeah, lots of fun cards in that set. That set looks like it's going to be really, really, really good. I'm excited for it. My son and I actually started watching Avatar again. He's actually asking to watch it again. He started it a long time ago, and now he's interested in it again. He's gotten books from his library at school that are Avatar books. So Last Airbender. So that's pretty. That's been a fun ride. So that's an air ride, if you will.
Awesome.
Yeah. Um. Definitely check out the cards we mentioned in our deck tech. Worth playing, worth considering for your decks that play similarly. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to talk about or say? Any general advice, not magic related?
Uh, just, I mean, the usual advice of don't forget Harambe.
Yeah. Rest in peace,
But,
sweet prince.
rest in peace, man. I wonder
Yeah.
where that kid is now. I hope he's proud.
That kid, he's gonna. I bet he gets all the crap. Yeah, he's probably a teenager now. I bet he gets pooped on by his peers constantly. Yeah. All
I
right.
mean,
Well, bye.
bye.